Hello everyone. Today the Ariane Space is launching Ariane 5 from the Guinea Launch Center. The rocket is the Ariane 5. The launch pad is LP-14. The type is a heavy lift launch vehicle. The manufacturer is Ariane Space. Fuel, nitrogen tetroxide. First stage recovery, there will not be recovering. Fairing recovery, no. And the weather is currently go, so it does appear that we have lost video connection from Ariane Space, so we're just gonna put up the standby sign. Yep. Oh, there it is. Okay, so we are now 3 minutes away from their live stream starting. Yeah. So if you guys have any questions about the vehicle, you can type them in the chat below. Yeah, and I'll be happy to answer them. So, I will pull up our info once the stream starts, but for now, we can just watch the countdown as it progresses, and yeah. We are now around 1 minute away from the start of the Ariane Space stream. I am now preparing to pull up our info, our tickers, and the launch countdown sequence. So yes, now we are under 1 minute from their webcast starting, and yeah, I will begin talking. Actually, no, I'll just keep talking. So yeah, you can see those two side SRBs. I'm pretty sure this is a live shot of the rocket. You can see that center core with that main engine. Then you can see the inner stage with the second stage, and you can also see the fairing up there. So yeah, you can see the launch towers. You can see you can see all those things. You can see lightning rods. You can see those power supplies. You can see the water deluge system. You can see the pad. You can see the flame diversion system. You can see all of those things. So yeah, we're 10 seconds away from the stream starting. So yeah, let's just listen in to when it's gonna start, and here we go. You can see they're 30 minutes away from
Good evening, everyone.
launch.
My name is Baptiste, and with Emma, we are really happy to welcome you on our new show, Road to Space. We are live from Paris tonight to cover the launch of two very special and innovative satellites, one from Eutelsat, the other from Embratel. This, of course, possible thanks to Ariane Space, Ariane Group, the CNES, and the European Space Agency.
That's right, Baptiste, and we have a very exciting program lined up for you all tonight. In less than 30 minutes, the European launcher Ariane 5 will be taking off from the European Space Center in Kourou. We will be live from Ariane's main base of operations over there and be giving you privileged access inside the Jupiter control room for some exclusive behind-the-scene coverage.
And here in the Paris studio with Emma, we will receive and interview some space leading experts. We'll do our best to reply to all the questions we received via social networks. But before that, let's take a look at tonight's menu.
Tonight in Road to Space, we'll be live from Guyana Space Center with all the team. We are here, of course, to witness the launch of the Ariane 5 rocket, which will be sending two telecommunication satellites into orbit.
Star 1 D2, in 3 words: multi-mission, high performance, and connectivity.
Here, in the Paris studio, we'll be talking to Space's top experts about the launch and showing you video reports on what the future holds for satellites.
Quantum is at heart the start of a revolution.
You will learn how a telecommunication satellite works, and we'll be giving you an exclusive look into the latest advances of the new European rocket Ariane 6.
Je vous propose de le découvrir de l'intérieur.
We'll also be answering all your questions on social networks and looking at the film Stowaway to find out if an intruder really could sneak his way aboard a rocket. But more than this, we hope that with Road to Space, you will spend a truly magical and unique night in our company, where Earth meets space and the present embraces the future. Welcome aboard Road to Space.
And so we're really happy to be with you tonight. And let's go directly to Kourou to meet our special first guest, Ariane Space CEO, Stéphane Israël. You're waiting for us. Hello, Stéphane. Welcome to Road to Space. Just one question. I see you're all on the deck getting ready for this upcoming flight, and it's a very special one. It's the Ariane 5, the European heavy launcher.
Yes, it is a very special launch tonight. It is the first launch of the year with Ariane 5, and we have on board two long-lasting partners of Ariane Space. We have with Star 1 D2 the operator Embratel. We have launched all the satellites of Embratel, and the other partner is our long-lasting friend Eutelsat. We have started our relationship in 1983. So with Star 1 D2 and with Quantum, we have really long-lasting partners tonight on board an Ariane 5.
Yeah, two special guests, two special passengers for you. And in a way, this launching is the climax of this campaign.
For sure. So we are now a few minutes before the launch. And, for having the liftoff at 6 o'clock p.m. Guyana time tonight, we need the satellite to be ready. We need the launcher to be ready. We need also the weather to be with us. We have now the final minutes up to the launch. We have a lot of very important operations to do before lifting off. So let's see how things are going to turn out. And we are confident for the liftoff.
We wish you good luck. We're sure everything is going to be perfect. Thank you very much, Stéphane. We'll come back to you a little bit later. And for all of you watching live, we will, of course, come back to Kourou regularly to inform you.
But for now, let's welcome Amandine Lux, who's just joined us into the studio. Good evening.
Good evening, Amandine.
Good evening, Emma. Good evening, Baptiste.
Welcome to Road to Space. You are Ariane Space's Advanced Studies Director, and tonight you will be connected with Kourou, thanks to a little earpiece, and giving us regular updates throughout the program about the mission. But can you explain to us, firstly, what are the principal stages of the mission?
Yes, so we can have a look. We have a little animation, so we can have an overview of what we are going to witness tonight. So at H0, an important event, we will have the main stage engine ignition. And so after a few healthy checks, it will be followed by the ignition of the boosters. So I'm waiting.
Should be getting some images up on the
I'm
screen
waiting for the
soon.
animation. Okay.
We should see this animation. Well, normally it should appear on the...
Here it is.
Yeah, so that's it. So
we get it.
you will have the liftoff with the boosters ignition, and after a quick ascent phase, the launch vehicle will perform the pitch maneuver in order to get to the right direction. A few seconds later, after, when they are no longer needed, the boosters are separated from the launch vehicle. And after that, we will separate the fairing, which protect the satellites, when it's no longer needed once the launch vehicle reaches out the atmosphere. So the main stage propel phase goes on till we reach the intermediate orbit. At this stage, we cut off the main stage engine. You have a distancing maneuver, and there will be the ignition of the upper stage engine after the separation of the main stage. So this second propel phase goes on till we reach the final orbit, the injection orbit, and tonight for our customers it will be the GT orbit, the geotransfer orbit. The same as for the main stage, the engine will cut off when we reach the final orbit, and we enter then the ballistic phase, during which we will separate our customers. So first Star-1 D2, and after a few maneuvers of distancing, we will separate the dual launch structure because we have a second passenger. And so after the SILDA separation, this dual launch structure, we will separate our second passenger, Eutelsat Quantum.
Okay, so those are all the points we have to follow, especially with you. And so you will be the one commenting with us all those key points happening during the launching. Well, thank you very much, Amandine. You stay with us. We'll come back to you shortly after. But before we are going to take a look at Star-1 D2, one of those two satellites that will be launched tonight. Star-1 D2 will improve access to high-quality entertainment and information services in Central and South America, and it will also connect undeserved population. Let's have a look at the report.
I would describe Star-1 D2 as powerful, hybrid, and 4-band satellites.
Multi-mission, high performance, and connectivity.
Star-1 D2 is the largest satellite ever launched for Ombratel. It is the latest in a fleet of 12 satellites. Its role? To boost the coverage of satellites already placed into orbit for the operator. Claro is a leading telecommunications company, and Ombratel is part of it.
Satellites will continue to be an important part of our infrastructure and business. We are part of the American Mobile Group, a leader in the telecommunications market in Latin America.
Star-1 D2 was built by Maxar at the manufacturing facility in Palo Alto in the United States. The satellite will be launched into geostationary orbit 36,000 kilometers above our heads.
Star-1 D2 is an important project for Maxar because of our partnership with Embratel in the geostationary communications market. We have been working on this satellite here at Maxar since the fall of 2017.
For over the past 36 years, Embratel and Ariane have developed a strong and fruitful partnership. Since its creation in 1985, the Brazilian operator has entrusted the launch of all its satellites to Ariane. And Star 1D2 does not escape the rule. The CEO of Embratel explains to our journalists why the company always chooses an Ariane launcher.
We are working with the key international players to have the best combination of technology, cost, and performance.
Star 1D2 will improve access to high-quality telecommunications and television services. It's intended to meet the needs of individual users, but also for businesses in South and Central America. The new satellite coverage will reach millions of people.
The most important technological challenges that we had to overcome to build this satellite were the fact that there were many diverse payload bands to make this satellite operational.
This hybrid satellite is composed of 4 different bands. The X band is for military use only. Star 1C band has exceptional power. Thanks to this, the satellite will be able to offer television coverage to more than 20 million satellite dishes in Brazil. The KU band will accompany the country's transition to 5G, a government requirement. With the KA band, Star 1D2 will significantly increase its mobile coverage capacity, particularly in the north of Brazil, which is one of the regions most affected by terrestrial connection problems. All of this will of course greatly benefit the population here. Each satellite beam will be able to connect 4,000 schools to the internet in the most remote areas. The development of the KA band in Brazil will also have an important impact on the agribusiness market.
To reach remote areas is our aim, to be the best option in all the market. With a great coverage of satellite, we will help transform businesses by bringing more possibilities for companies to reinvent themselves and to improve their service, in addition to providing people with more ways to communicate and be entertained.
Star 1D2, like the rest of the Star 1 fleet, will be controlled and monitored from the largest satellite control center in Brazil and Latin America, the Guaratiba Center. Created in 1983, it is located in the west side of Rio de Janeiro. But before taking off into space, the satellite had to go through another somewhat delicate journey. Its transport from Palo Alto to Kourou, in one of the largest cargo aircrafts in the world. Star 1D2 is now ready for its ride into space. Before this satellite takes off and finds its place amongst the stars, let's welcome our space expert, Raphaël Chevrier.
Welcome, Raphaël.
Welcome.
Hello.
You are a business developer in charge of innovation at Ariane, and the question I want to ask you tonight is, today we can talk to whoever we want, anywhere in the world, but what about tomorrow? What does tomorrow hold?
Well, first of all, I'd like to remind that half of the population worldwide still lack of a reliable internet connection. And so satellites are really the perfect solution to come in addition to the terrestrial network to provide connectivity to remote area where it's just too expensive to put a cable there. I'm thinking of archipelagos, deserts, and mountains. And just to give you a recent example, we launched last year a Japanese satellite, BSAT-4B, who is right now providing TV broadcast in high definition for the Olympic Games that are happening right now. And I just wanted to remind that yesterday we had an engineer at Ariane Group, Astrid Guyard, who won the silver medal in fencing, and I want to congratulate her.
Wow.
Yeah, congratulations. What I understand is that it can change things for me as an individual, but what will it change for companies?
We can think of like very unlimited application there. If you have like a strong connectivity, you can apply it to moving targets like trains, boats, autonomous cars, planes, and etc. There are strong implications in telemedicine also, with tomorrow doctors being able to really take care of a person's health remotely in real time, and to assist, for example, a surgical act at distance. And also all applications related to Internet of Things, so that tomorrow you can actually monitor your house at distance, remotely, in real time, anywhere.
Well, thank you for all those information. You stay with us because we are going to focus now on the second satellite that will be into orbit tonight.
Yes, Baptiste, and this satellite is Eutelsat Quantum. It was developed by ESA with the operator Eutelsat and the satellite manufacturer Airbus. It is what you call a game-changing piece of technology. To understand how innovative it is, let's watch this short report. It took place a few days ago on Toulouse's Airbus Defence and Space facilities in France. It is here that the manufacturing teams were preparing to ship the satellite, Eutelsat Quantum, before its long voyage to French Guiana, a rigorous operation in a sterilized room under controlled atmosphere. This 3.5-ton jewel of technology is the new benchmark in telecommunication satellites.
The Eutelsat Quantum will be the first world commercial telecommunication satellite fully reconfigurable in orbit. Standard geostationary satellites are configured during construction over fixed coverage. With this new generation of satellite, you will be able to modify the coverage and to pinpoint a specific area and to define a route to follow a plane or a shipping vessel.
Eutelsat Quantum is paving the way for a future generation of satellites and is a great example of international cooperation.
As you can see, the final assembly is done here in our facilities in Airbus Defence Space in Toulouse. You can see the satellite behind me. And it's made of many components coming from Europe. The platform is coming from our subsidiaries, SSTL, for which we have developed these products for the low range of our satellites. The fully flexible, innovative payload has been designed and built in Airbus Defence Space in Portsmouth, where this payload has been totally innovated. So the development of Eutelsat Quantum Active Antenna is a new technology that is developed in Spain and that is paving the way, positioning Airbus as a leader for flexible payload.
What makes Eutelsat Quantum so groundbreaking is its new multi-beam antenna. As we can see in this visual animation, its technological feat lies in its mobile aspect.
One of the main challenges and a great achievement for Airbus is the groundbreaking multi-beam active receive antenna named ELSA+.
Well, there goes the stream again. I'll try to pull it up. It just needs to load. Well, it's not loading. I think all the streams are doing that. Ariane 5. Okay, I'm just making sure. No. Well, by the time these ads are over, the stream's already gonna be back to normal. That's not happening to other people. It's only happening to me. Oh wait, no, it's not. It's happening to other people. Yeah, it's their connection.
Finally, our customers order a satellite with a specified mission unchanged throughout the whole lifetime of the satellite. In the case of Eutelsat Quantum, our customer is able to reconfigure by software control in order to adapt to changing market conditions.
Quantum is leading in the field for software-driven payloads on commercial spacecraft because it is the first to respond to a market demand for ultimate flexibility for customers.
With this new standard and flexibility, Eutelsat Quantum will provide communications on the move as required by aeronautical, maritime and land transportation. It will also provide a rapid response to civil protection, natural disaster response and security missions, all using the latest encryption technologies.
In a few minutes, we'll be linking up to Kourou for the launch of the Ariane 5 rocket. But for the moment, Raphaël Chevrier, our space expert, is with us. Raphaël, let's talk a little bit more about Eutelsat Quantum. And in the report we just watched, we talk about a geostationary position. What it is?
Yeah. Well, this is the position where the satellite is actually going. It's at 36,000 kilometers from the Earth. It is a very convenient orbit for telecommunication satellites because the movement of the satellites there are synchronized with the rotation of the Earth. It means that they can actually provide the same applications all day long to the same region because they are facing the same region.
So they're turning with the Earth at the same time.
Exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, so 24 hours a day they can deliver services there.
Okay, and also we've heard about the fact that the satellite will be placed at 48 degrees east.
Yeah.
Same question, why?
Well, because this location corresponds to the region that the satellite wants to actually deserve the application. So in this case, it corresponds to a broad region from Europe to the Middle East. And well, you've heard in the report that Eutelsat Quantum is actually like a real concentrate of technology because this is a reconfigurable satellite. It means that it is as flexible as operating several satellites in orbit at a time, and it can quickly adapt to the market change geographically and in terms of frequency bands.
Okay.
So it's a real game changer.
Yeah, it is opening a new way of doing business in space. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much, Raphael. And for all you watching us live, just stay with us because we'll be heading back to Kourou in a couple of minutes. But just before, let's watch what's coming next.
Tonight on Road to Space, we are live from Guyana.
Again? This always happens. I hope this doesn't happen during the launch. If this happens during the launch, I'm going to be so mad. Please, it should be back in like. It should be back in like maybe under 20 seconds or 10. It shouldn't be much longer than that. This happens. I have checked. It's happening to other people too, so it's not me. So. Well, while it's out, I can just pull up my little thing. They're not go for launch yet, so I just keep it on.
Board a rocket.
There.
You want the answer? Stay aboard Road to Space and enjoy the ride.
In less than 10 minutes, Ariane 5 will be lifting off from Kourou in French Guiana, but for the moment, let's welcome to the studio Mathieu Chaise.
Welcome,
Good
Mathieu.
evening.
Thank you. Hi.
Mathieu, you've been working for Ariane Group for the last 18 years. You were part of the Ariane 6 development program, but we'll talk about that later. For the moment, we have a question for you and Raphael from our social networks, which should be coming up just behind me here. This one is from Daniel Fisher, a tweet. Do Ariane Space and ESA have a defined opinion about the precise altitude where space begins? 100 kilometers or less or more?
Well, this question probably refers to the recent debate there was between two entrepreneurs that went to space. Richard Branson, who went to 80 kilometers of altitude, which is recognized as the space limit by NASA, and Jeff Bezos, who went to 100 kilometers of altitude, which is recognized as space limit by the International Aeronautical Federation. The reason for this debate is that the atmosphere is a continuous medium with no real limit. You can travel hundreds of kilometers and you will still find particles like in space. So as a matter of fact, the atmosphere ends at 950 kilometers from the Earth. We don't really have this debate at Arianespace because we are launching satellites well above 100 kilometers of altitude, several hundred kilometers of altitude. And so we launch the satellites there and it requires a huge amount of energy, right?
Yes, but okay, maybe you do not care about that, but when you're designing rockets, this is really a huge matter because, as you said, you're going through a continuous medium. You know exactly how you need to model it very precisely when you do simulations, because even though at 80 or 100 kilometers you don't have that many particles, still you are going through this medium at a very, very high speed. We're talking about 2 kilometers per second, and you know how many kilometers per hour it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 7 to 8 thousand kilometers. Yeah, you need the conversion, of course. So from there, all the particles you will heat will create some aeroflux, and you need to be very aware of that in particular to determine the exact instant when you're going to separate the fairing, because you don't want the satellites that are protected by it to be hurt by these particles.
Okay.
So we have an end of question. Would this be of any operational importance for engineering, science, or legal reasons?
So for engineering, obviously, but even for the International Space Station, this is an issue because at 400 kilometers of altitude, they're not that far. There are still particles, and they're actually decaying slowly because they're hit by these particles. So they need to be reboosted from time to time.
Regarding science, this is why indeed.
Attention pour la séquence finale lanceur.
Well, sorry to interrupt you guys. Actually, we just heard the DDO.
Top à 0-7 minutes.
So it's 7 minutes away from the launching. Amandine, can you explain us who is this guy and what is this announcement?
Okay, so the DDO is the Range Operations Manager. And so tonight, as I am, he will be connected with the Telemetry Control Center. He will receive all the information so that we can follow what are the main milestones during this flight and that we are on track regarding the launch. So now we enter the synchronized sequence, so that means that we are good to go. We will get the launch vehicle ready for liftoff. We will perform the isolation of the ground vehicle, launch vehicle from the ground. If we are green to go, that means that I don't remember. If you remember, there was the panel behind you with all the greens. So that means that the space base is green. So space base ensures the means to track the launch vehicle and also the safety, the security. They monitor the safe weather conditions. We have, of course, the launch vehicle. And
the weather is important?
Weather is
even
really
to launch
important.
a rocket?
It's really important. It's really important at liftoff.
I ask you that because we can fly with planes on every weather.
Yeah,
so.
Lightning are monitored because you don't want any kind of explosion at liftoff. And after that, the trajectory is computed following certain conditions for the forecast. And you don't want to have, for instance, high velocities for the winds because of that. Otherwise, you would have some risk towards population. And so the last green that you need, of course, is the one from our customers. So now, this is the final autonomous sequence. Everything will be transferred to give autonomy to the launch vehicle. It will be isolated from the ground. We will give the power to the launch vehicle. The launch vehicle will be the brain of itself, and it will be ready for the liftoff with the last operation, the preparation of the ignition of the main stage.
Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you because I have the clock over there. We are 5 minutes away from the liftoff. Let's go to Kourou and let's go to the Jupiter control room to see what is happening over there. Hello, Cyrielle. Good to see you. You are our correspondent for Ariane Space tonight, and you are going to be reporting for us from behind the scene in this famous Jupiter control room. Well, my question is simple. What is that room? I guess it's what we see behind you.
Hello, Baptiste, and welcome. Yes, as you've said, I am in the Jupiter Control Center, and more precisely in what we call the fishbowl. This is the place where we receive all the information regarding the spaceport and the Ariane 5 status. But let me introduce the teams. So, just behind me in the front row and a little bit of the second one over there, we have the CNES launch specialists. They are in charge of coordinating and monitoring telemetry, weather data, telecommunication system of the spaceports, and so many other things. Now, right here on the second row, we have the satellite operators and manufacturers. They are here to monitor their spacecraft, and afterwards, they will confirm the acquisition of the signal, which then means that the satellite is fine. Next to them, in the middle, we have the CNES and Ariane Space launch managers. That is where Didier is sitting. He's the one who gets to say the final countdown we are all craving for. Next to him, we have Ariane Space mission director, the conductor of the mission, in charge of coordinating all the actors of the launch campaign. Now, all the way in the back, you have the authorities overseeing the launch. On the right, we have the one from the CNES, and on the left, the one from on the right, we have
2
the
minutes,
one from
45
ESA, and on the left,
show us the rocket. Hashtag
now,
show us the rocket.
Let me take you to a
Just show the
very
rocket,
special
please.
place, Ariane Space's den. So, this is where we have the area dedicated to the Ariane Space project managers and the satellite program directors. They are here to make sure that everything is going smoothly. Now let's get to our final stop. Well, actually, you've already been here earlier today with Stéphane, who is now sitting right there. So this area is where our top management is overseeing the entire lounge. And on the other side of this glass wall, you can see that tonight we have an audience. They are from the clients' teams and from the spaceport. And we also have...
There's 1 minute to show us the rocket, please.
As you can see, they are opening the door to actually let the public outside in order for them to actually be able to watch the show live from the terraces.
Well, thank you very much, Cyrielle, and we'll let those people concentrate because we are 1 minute and 28 seconds away from the launching, so from the liftoff. So now we're gonna watch the show because this is what we are here to enjoy the show. And
yeah,
cross fingers.
That's not exactly how we call it as engineers.
Yes. Une minute.
Please show the rocket. There's 1 minute. Just please show the rocket. I'm going to get so mad. Please show the rocket. If you don't show the rocket, I'm going to be very mad.
So it's 1 minute
Please
away
show.
from the launching. We hear the DDO. This is
There.
the DDO speaking, announcing
Okay, good.
different steps.
Exciting.
And we will have the countdown within a few seconds. We are 45 seconds from the liftoff.
40 seconds away, wow.
I guess everybody over there is concentrated.
Look,
and
look at Amandine.
Sitting next to me is
focused.
really...
I live that so many times. You don't know all the things that can happen, so I'm really focused.
It's difficult for her because she has information
Okay,
on one
come
side.
on, 20
I was
seconds.
talking to her. 15 seconds away.
Tous de DDO, attention pour le décompte final. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, top.
It's going to get full power.
Allumage Vulcain.
And then side boost.
Allumage UAP, décollage.
Here we go, liftoff.
So impressive.
Paramètres à bord nominaux.
Well, we have just seen Ariane 5 disappear towards space. Do stay with us, everyone, because
Trajectoire
what's going to
nominale.
happen next is as crucial as the next launch. This is, of course, the moment when the two satellites, Star 1, D2, and
We can see
Eutelsat
the rocket
Quantum,
in the background.
separate from the launcher and are placed into orbit.
Propulsion
But
nominale.
that's not all, is it, Baptiste?
Yeah, I guess it's not all. I was really watching at those
Me too,
impressive images. And
Impressive
to answer your
images.
question, I'm going to ask Amandine. So, Amandine, how many kilometers does Ariane 5 travel before
nominale.
the launching of the satellites?
So, in fact, Ariane 5 is not going to go to the GEO orbit, this orbit of interest. That would be quite a journey. So, we are going to the GTO orbit, so the Geo Transfer Orbit, which is an ellipse around the Earth, which lowest point is close to the Earth. And so, this is where the upper stage is going to get us. We will reach roughly an altitude of 650 kilometers.
Propulsion nominale.
And this orbit, as an interest,
Okay,
the
nominal
highest
trajectory and
point is
propulsion.
located at the same radius of the GEO orbit. And so that will be up to the customers once they are released into the GTO orbit to get to the GEO orbit and to do the final maneuvers to circularize the orbit and be in the GEO orbit.
I guess, and I hope everything is calculated and programmed. So what is the role of the team in Kourou right
Okay,
now?
coming up on
So
booster
everything is
burnout.
pre-programmed on board, but you remember I talked about the onboard computers. So,
So we're
the
about
launch vehicles
3/4
knows
to the way
exactly where it is
around
located,
booster
what
burnout and booster
is its
separation.
acceleration and velocity. And so it will reach the orbit by recomputing the orbit every time in order to get the maximum performance and the best accuracy. Right now, the main active people in Kourou, you don't see them, they are in the ground.
Séparation EAP.
We did have an important event. I have the confirmation that we have the EAP separation.
The booster separation.
Yeah, the booster separations. Yeah, boosters have been separated.
So that's at 2 minutes 20 is the time when the two boosters leave the rocket. Why is it specifically 2 minutes 20? Could it be earlier or later?
Yes, it can, because I was talking
Propulsion
about the
nominal,
onboard
trajectoire
computer.
nominal.
And so you trigger the separation of the boosters when you do no longer need them. So that means that they have done the job in showing most of the power that you need to escape from ground.
There will be fairing
and so
separation.
by recomputing the trajectory, there is a point at which you know that they do no longer push because the acceleration is low. And so the onboard computer is going to trigger the separation of the boosters. And so roughly, usually it happens within a few seconds in comparison to the prediction.
And now we will be witnessing the next step, I guess, I hope.
I did have the confirmation, so now it's the separation of the fairing. So the fairing was there to protect the satellites from the acoustic in ground, because the liftoff creates a lot of noise, and from the atmosphere, as it was mentioned by Mathieu and Raphael. And so we separate the fairing. Same, the onboard computer, we compute everything, knowing exactly what is the velocity, what is the altitude. It can recompute the flux. And when we are under the threshold, the maximum flux that we authorize for the launch vehicle and for our customers, the onboard computer triggers the separation of the fairing.
Okay. I guess now, more or less, Ariane 5 is out of sight. How we will keep the link? How will Kourou keep the link with the rocket?
We will keep the link with the rocket thanks to a network of ground stations, which are in visibility with the launch vehicle. They receive what we call the telemetry of the launch vehicle. Telemetry are the key flight measurements from the launch vehicle. And you have a team in Kourou, you were asking me the questions, which is located in the first station, the one in Galio. And they will receive all the telemetry of the launch vehicle. They will process it, analyze it, and make sure that it is coherent with what was the forecast. And they will give us and give me and give the DDO tonight all the main milestones.
Okay, so they're analyzing the data.
Exactly.
Okay.
And after that, the launch vehicle will be tracked by another network of stations. So it will be followed by Natal in Brazil. In the Atlantic Ocean, we will have Ascension.
We'll talk about that later, because I
Libreville
think
and
we will
Kenya.
follow every step.
Yeah, we will.
We understand that the launcher is in full flight now. So what is its speed? What is its altitude? How fast is it going at the moment?
So right now we are at an altitude of roughly 160 kilometers, and the speed is above 3 kilometers per second. And
Okay,
so
to explain the audience, you have all the numbers, all the data in front of you.
We do have the data. And so what is worth mentioning is that now the mass is only of 160 tons.
And before it was what, 775 tons?
Yeah, so
it's enormous.
Reason for which we separate these boosters, because simple rule in space, the lighter the better if you want to get faster.
Okay. Lighter, higher, faster. Okay, I understand. It makes me think of a song. Daft Punk song.
Yeah,
that's
it's same for me.
Side
rocket
subject. Mathieu, let me ask you a question. When we were preparing this show and we were talking about the VA254.
Yes.
So what is it? A code, secret code?
It's indeed a secret code. I cannot communicate on this, Baptiste. No, it's the numbering of the flight we're considering. For V for vol, A for Ariane, obviously, so Ariane flight. 254, but what's interesting is that this counter started 41 years ago with the first flight of Ariane, which was Ariane 1 in 1979.
On the 24th of December.
December, yeah, because we launched on Christmas Eve when necessary. That was the birth of Ariane was on Christmas Eve.
Very nice. So for Christmas time, you watch the launching of the rocket.
No,
so it's kind of a good present.
Yeah, but I was not born.
I'm a bit surprised.
No, I was born a month later.
So now we are following the next steps, and we are about 7 minutes after the launching, and now you were talking about the bases on the ground on Earth, which are linked to the rocket. So now, who are we linked to? Where are we linked to? We will probably approach Natal.
We will approach the visibility of Natal, yes, indeed. And so that means that we are along the path away from the American coast.
Okay, so what is Natal?
Natal is a ground tracking station in Brazil.
In Brazil, yeah.
Yes.
And so now we're waiting the DDO announcement that would specify that Natal is linked to the rocket.
Yes. I didn't know.
Any news?
And so
No.
what?
Oh, wow. Well, they were just talking about stuff, but like, there's gonna be Miko soon. I'm just putting Miko. Come on, please.
The cryogenic engine, and it's not a given for, it's always an intense moment because
There, yeah, we
cryogenic
missed Miko.
ignition in space conditions. So now we enter the second propel phase with the upper stage that will get our customers to the final orbit, the GTO orbit.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Amandine. We keep on focusing on all those important informations.
Thank you, Amandine. Thank you so much for all that. Well, we are now less than 20 minutes away from the separation of the first satellite, and of course we'll be going live from the Jupiter control room in Kourou. But for the moment, let's now focus on today's passengers. 2 telecommunication satellites. How do they work? Well, the answer is in this short report, guys.
The rocket's launching. I don't want to see a report.
Satellite works,
You
you'll
guys, you
need to
have-
get the bigger picture.
I do
A
have
satellite
to go.
is
So, yeah, and there's not much really happening on stream. So you guys should be able to just go to another stream. So thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.